Maxbet. Život je igra.
Jedan jako bitan detalj u evroligaškoj utakmici su novinari. I to oni novinari koji su na prvoj liniji fronta. Postavljaju pitanja trenerima i najboljim igračima i to pre utakmice, pa u poluvremenu kada se sigurno nikome ne razgovara, kao i posle meča. Kako je to pitati Željka Obradovića pitanje posle poraza? Kako ispadne kada se praviš pametan, a ne bi trebalo? Kako napraviti intervju zanimljivim i kako otvoriti igrače koji često pričaju isto? Za 3 sekunde govore Jelena Lukić, Dejnar Lukas, Dora Panteli i Deniz Aksoj.
Mislim da je negde glavno da budeš svoj i da budeš neutralan, u smislu da ne zauzimaš ni jednu ni drugu stranu. Ja kako radim i Zvezdu, tako radim i Partizan i stvarno se trudim da u skladu sa tim šta se dešava na terenu, šta se događa na treninzima, da postavljam pitanja. Ne konstatujem, ne pravim se pametna, da mi se to prosto ne bi obilo o glavu i ono što ja volim recimo tokom utakmice jeste da slušam kolege komentatore i da negde na osnovu vaših komentara konstruišem i pravim pitanja.
It's a very interesting job. It's a very warming job for me because I am passionate about basketball. I want to know more about basketball. I want to see Obradović. I want to see Partizan, Serbian fans, Turkish fans. It's like a whole combination of my interest with this joy and with the knowledge of basketball.
The recipe is knowing the game, the tactic side of the game, because you have to be able to read between the lines. The more interesting and to the point your questions are, the better it is for the coaches, for the players to understand what you want to say or to make a statement. And I think the more interesting it is for the fan who's watching you to understand the game. So my biggest key to success is really understanding basketball and how the game is played.
You and me and players and coaches can talk about basketball all day long. All day long we can talk about basketball, but they just want to keep it very short, very concise, and get out to playing and practicing or to the locker room. And I get it, I understand, but I want to get a real answer from them. There's guys who will not stop talking, which is great. But there's also guys who 3, 4, 5 words and that's out. And then I'm sitting there on camera like, what do I do now? Because you're expecting a couple more, like a half a minute, and then they're just like, we got to play defense. Bye. And I'm like, thanks. So that's I would say that's the hardest part, but it doesn't happen too often.
Mislim da je najveća tenzija tokom utakmice, odnosno ti intervjui na poluvremenu, gde su nekako, igrači ne toliko, ali treneri su prilično onako nervozni, posebno oni čije ekipe u tom trenutku gube. Čak su i prošle sezone i Skariolo i Messina konstatovali da su ti nekako intervjui za trenere kao neka vrsta kazne, posebno za poražene trenere i da bi trebalo možda dati njima šansu da se onako iskuliraju, da se smire nekih 5-6 minuta kako, ne bi novinar u toj situaciji nastradao.
Well, listen, there have been times when I started this job that I made mistakes, that I asked not the wrong thing, but I asked something in a wrong way. There's always a way you can ask what you want. So experience, it's really important. Understanding the personalities of the coaches is very important, or the players. You don't have to always trigger people to tell you stuff.
Tokom utakmice sa Itudisom, pre ne znam sad tačno koliko godina, Zvezda je igrala tu utakmicu u areni protiv CSKA, tada je i Itudis vodio CSKA i na poluvremenu sam ja pitala njega zašto ste imali sporiji start duela, on je krenuo u neku debatu sa mnom i onda je nakon utakmice, kada je CSKA ostvario pobedu, pokušao da smiri loptu, da spusti loptu i da kaže sada mi je lakše da pričam sa vama kada smo dobili.
With Dimitris Itudis, I don't remember which game, but he lost and he was giving me very short answers, so it was very, very, very difficult.
I love talking to Zeljko, but I know Zeljko since I was a little kid. when my dad played for him here in Real Madrid. And so I'm still that nervous little kid who saw him screaming at Sabonis and my dad and all of these players. And if he was screaming like that at these big, tall guys, of course he was going to. So I'll tell you a story, Marco. I've told this a few times, but my dad always used to bring me to practice. And, you know, I was dribbling on the court, like, you know, kind of, and they were going full court, back and forth, 5-on-5. I dribble it off of my shoe, and it just rolls into the court, stops practice. Zelko stops practice, picks up the ball, and kicks it into the 20th row. And I just went running. So every time I see him, I go back to that scared little kid who just saw his basketball get kicked into the whizzing center in the 20th rows.
Coach, I believe you were able to control the rhythm only when they weren't able to attack within the first 8 seconds. However, that wasn't consistent because of your offensive choices. I will remind you that in the last 5 minutes of the half, they scored 10 points from your turnovers.
Well, thank you for the advice. I appreciate it. Thank you. Seems like you understand what's going on. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. To be honest with you, both my best and worst moment was with Coach Blatt, and it taught me a lot because it was the first year I was doing this job, and because I know basketball, I try to play smart with Coach Blatt, and he got a little bit, not mad, but you know, he actually said, well, yeah, I know. Like, so I highlighted something that his team was doing wrong in a wrong way, and I shouldn't do that. So I learned from this, from the way he commented on what I said. So the next time that I said something similar, but in a really nice way, he actually congratulated me on air, and he said, you should have done the halftime speech to my team.
Nekako najviše volim da pričam sa Pablom Lasom. Taj čovek je uvek fin, kulturan, sreden, uvek se smeška. Sa Lesorom je to uvek bilo super interesantno. Ima dosta tih intervjua, ali sada kada me pitaš na prvu loptu ne mogu da se setim. Verovatno da mi daš šansu da razmislim.
Pa naterala si ga da džuska.
Dobro, jeste, da. Dobro, ume da bude tih situacija jako interesantnih. Pre svega, ispred slučionice ume da bude jako zanimljivo.
How are you feeling right now? Are you emotional?
That's how I feel. Let's get it.
Do you want to sing?
I'm going to sing right there with the Globary.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then Nigel just called you with your nickname. I think it's a bald eagle. So can you explain this to the fans? Thank you.
Nick Galantes, because he did, you know, it's not that good, but like, you know, like that interview.
Maxbet. Život je igra.